All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. It is the Fresh Start Show here in Tucson. We are excited to see everybody. Thank you for joining us. And we are excited just in case you don't get to hear us live. You know, you can always go to the radio station's YouTube channel and see us visually as well. And so if you ever want to know what Dr. Holt look like and want to know what Tom Cortez look like, go to our YouTube channel and check us out on the Fresh Start Show. We're excited again for another great episode. We have really, really great conversations talking about homelessness. And lately, if you notice, homelessness have been an issue in our city, nationally as well, but in particular, our city in Tucson. And we're seeing more homelessness like never before. And we are in a homeless crisis. And we are trying to figure out what that looks like. So we're going to be talking about that. So keep it locked real quickly. Want to thank Desert Sky for being a great supporter of the Fresh Start Show. We really appreciate you. Thank you for taking a chance on us and being a supporter and a sponsor for the show. Thank you so kindly. But remember, save the date. Fresh Start Expo is coming soon. Very, very soon. October 21st. From 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Tucson Convention Center, better known as the TCC. We got all the courts like we did last year that's going to be here. We're here to help you with your legal issues. We want you to stop driving without a license. We can help you. We want you to come and come to our expo so that you can see some of our lawyers and judges to get your rights restored. There's a new legislation on seal your records. If you've been out prison for at least 3 years under certain conditions, we may be able to help you to seal those records, which is going to be huge for employment and housing. There's so many things that we got going on. We want you to come and check us out. Get the word out to your neighbor, your friend, your church member, your co-worker, people that got background issues. Have them to come down to the Fresh Start. We're going to be able to help you. We got the city courts, justice courts, juvenile courts, superior courts. We also have our county attorney. We also have our city attorney for misdemeanors. We have our public defender. We have Andy Silverman and his legal student team that's going to be here for restoration of rights. We have Pima County Workforce that has felony-friendly employment. We do haircuts. I just got word for the Nation of Barbers. The Nation of Barbers said this year they want to be part of Fresh Start to stand along with the hairstylists and actually give free haircuts. So we're going to have haircuts and hairstyling on this event. We got great things happening. We are in talks of perhaps have not been confirmed yet, but we may be bringing child support to the table of Fresh Start, which means that people who may be out of compliance with their child support maybe can't afford of making payments. So we were talking with the Attorney General's office right now to see if we can bring child support to Fresh Start, which is going to be huge on so many levels. You know, we have a lot of people who are behind on child support. We have so many people who are in default. We have so many people that are looking at jail time, warrants. Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. Warrants. Some have already been in jail. Can be looking back, going back to jail. So I think that it'd be huge if Fresh Start can get child support at the table and helping families and helping family mothers and fathers who have pending cases to relook at those cases and maybe relook at a payment plan, whatever we need to do to help people even in this area. So keep it locked on that. I'm trying to have conversations, see if we can get child support at the table with Fresh Start. And I think that's going to be huge when we add to all the different mini services. And we also have people who've been in prison who's now really behind, or in county jail behind. So, I think that child support most definitely should be something that we're looking at when it comes to Fresh Start. And I think that would be so beneficial. Some people are scared to go to the courts because they feel like they're going to get arrested. So they just continue to stay in arrearage. Well, that interest just keeps building and building. I mean, I think it's almost worse than IRS, to be honest. But just to think about what we could do to help people who've been formerly incarcerated, maybe behind on child support. You know, they're already trying to work on other things. You know, something that's another employment issue, right? Some people scared to work because they feel like they won't have a check.
Right, and then they're going to garnish that check.
They're going to garnish that check, right? So we're looking on. It have not been confirmed or finalized, but I am trying to have conversations with the AG's office to see if we can get child support at the table to help people to get in alignment with that court order. And if we can get a judge to relook at that and say, hey, let's help you with some arrearages, let's help you, man, that'd be powerful.
Yeah.
We're already doing it
Yeah.
for court fees and fines with the city. You know, so just imagine if that could happen.
And what that's going to do is it's going to multiply for the city, because that guy is actually going to stop working off the books, right? And so now he's going to be paying taxes into the
Paying
city
taxes.
because he doesn't
He gonna
have
get
to
legit.
hide what he's learning. He doesn't have to hide
Under
what he's
the
earning
table work.
anymore
That's
because they're
exactly
not
right.
taking a chunk
That's
of it.
exactly right. That's
Amen.
exactly right. And
Yeah.
we may need to make child support an episode for Fresh Start, because it's a big issue. It's a big legal issue. We you know, even going through divorce, and now you got to pay child support, and you know, maybe you feel like the system is unfair, or maybe you can't afford that. Maybe you once had a nice job, 6-figure job, and that court order didn't bother you, and maybe some things have changed, and you still got to pay mortgage, and you still looking at that big expensive child support. Maybe we need to get you back down to the court, talking to the judge, see if the other parent can work together or something. But I know it's a big issue, and you know me, I don't run from them. I'm always trying to find solutions to this and not sweep it under the rug. But child support is a big issue, and we know there are people who have been incarcerated who has a warrant out for their arrest for it. Just think that because of the fact that we have because it's going to be a Superior Court issue.
Yeah.
Child support is under family law,
Yeah.
right? So we already got the judges at Fresh Start. All we got to do is add the child support piece and see if the Attorney General, because they really oversee that part, to work with us, man, that is just going to be huge. And so maybe in the future we can look at talking about child support as an issue far as dealing with incarceration, because most definitely it is a real issue, and some people are actually really looking at doing some time because they just can't make those payments, or they running away, right?
And it's feeding the juvenile to prison pipeline, because if he can't have if he's got a warrant out for him and he's not making payments, he can't have visitation with his kid,
right?
So he can't be a presence in that kid's life. So that kid is moving on the same path that he did.
Oh yeah, most definitely. So keep it locked on that. Meantime, we're gonna figure that out to bring a child support episode, because I think that that's something we need to talk about as issue. Again, this is why we have Fresh Start. I hope you appreciate the Fresh Start show, because we talk about these type of issues that a lot of times people just if they do talk about it, they just scratch the surface. They don't really go in deep into the real issues that are at hand. We're coming back, revisiting the conversation we had on last week in regards to homelessness. We know that homelessness is a big issue, and there's also some intersectionality in between incarceration and homelessness as well. Some homelessness are incarcerated because they're homeless,
right?
Because of where they stand, considered a nuisance or safety issue. So people send the sheriff and the police at this issue. But this is a very complex issue. This is not, you just can't criminalize this to a solution. We have to look at wraparound opportunities and services to help individuals if they want to be helped. You know, I still believe a lot of them want to be helped, but lack a lot of resources. You do have that group that's like, whatever. But we can't come with a judgmental type of mindset because many of us, including myself at one point in my life, I was a couple checks from homelessness. So, and let's be real. Many Americans is a paycheck away, from homelessness. So, this is a real deal. You brought some data that was really enlightening. So talk to us about your research was, Tom?
Well, when we talked about it, I went right back to looking it up after last week, and I wanted to see where Tucson was, where Arizona was. Arizona actually ranks 8th in the country for amount of homeless people.
Wow.
California's number 1 with 171,000 homeless, and that's just like a point of contact count. So they're not accurate. I mean, they may get like 2/3 of the number.
Yeah.
And for Arizona, it was 13,553. But the numbers in Tucson have increased. Change in homelessness from 2020 to 2022 increased 68%.
Wow.
68%, and it was 22-27.
So what, based on research, what's the big driver of what we're seeing?
What we're seeing is
why
housing.
Why more tents?
Affordable housing is not affordable housing.
Yeah.
Because most people are not earning sustainable wages.
That's exactly right.
And if you can't get a sustainable wage and you don't have a partner getting, so the two of you can't even combine for a sustainable wage, you can't sustain a residence.
Yeah.
You can't even sustain an apartment.
Right.
Because if you look into it, you could actually get a mortgage for about what an apartment is, and there's a lot of first buyer programs that are done and stuff like that. But that doesn't even come into focus, probably, because we're way past that.
Yeah.
And
gentrification.
Yeah.
So we also have this thing where
you can't put lipstick on it.
Yeah. And gentrification is a big issue as well. So we also have real estate investors going into communities, purchasing these properties where it was affordable, and to get people out of these neighborhoods, they double prices that people can't afford, so that they can go in and gut out the house, renovate it, and sell it on the market. I don't think we talk enough about that as well.
Sadly, COVID did a lot of damage, and a lot of people took advantage during the COVID period. And when they were restricted from being able to act on people that were unable to pay their rent because of, when they were able to act, they just unleashed on people.
Apartment complexes.
Yes.
I got so many reports on the next year lease of how much rent was versus where it's been. I'm not saying gradual increases. I'm talking about bungee jumping, crazy type of rent.
Yeah.
So, and that contributes to homelessness as well. Have you heard some of the same?
Absolutely, because we work in the Amphi neighborhood, and we've talked to the elderly.
Okay.
And it's like anywhere from 15 to 35% raise of their rent, and rent increase.
Yeah.
Over, like, there was an 18-month period, and then they raised it again 18 months later, and then they were getting ready to do it again when COVID was winding down. But at that point, none of them could afford that anymore.
Exactly.
That's why we're seeing elderly and women with children out on the streets.
Yes.
A woman that's holding down a job and paying for daycare for her children, and she ends up on the street.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing more and more handicapped.
Yes.
In wheelchairs with missing limbs and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's, we're okay with that, I guess.
Yeah.
I
mean, even if they're not on the street, I mean, senior citizens, standing all day, 8-hour shift with bad legs, bad knees at Walmart, greeting people because, their fixed income is not enough. Their Social Security is not enough. Their pension is not enough. I mean, that's some scary stuff, man.
Yeah.
And I think that what I just said was very powerful. Many Americans is one check away.
Yeah.
Like, if they don't get that check, they are seriously
it's
in
less than
jeopardy.
a check. A battery in your vehicle or a tire
can throw your whole budget off.
$200. $200 is catastrophic to some families.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
How devastating is that?
Most definitely.
And we talked about it last week again, and I talked about, I was one of them, and I was homeless.
Yeah.
And I begged for money, and people gave me money, and I took that money and I went and got dope.
Yeah.
But you know what? It got me to tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then it got me to the next day.
Yeah.
Which got me to today. Yeah. And because I'm still talking about it, bro, it's making an eternal difference in people's lives.
Yeah.
Because it's changing lives, because somebody is coming forward and saying, you know what, we are a broken society.
Yeah.
And you know what? The example of our broken society is not the homeless people on the corner. It's the people sitting in the cars driving past them.
That's exactly
because they're
right.
not taking this chance to stop and recognize there's a human being standing there that has value in God's eyes just as much as you do.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you didn't have that one check, you'd be sitting right next to him.
Get real.
And we get real with it. Yeah, don't get beside yourself. If you didn't get that one check, you're one check away from having a tent right next to him. And that is where that should really be very humbling for Americans.
Yeah. Yeah, and because I talked about the COPE thing, and most people have no clue what people go through that live in poverty, and they think, oh, they made their choice.
Yeah.
They made their bed, let them sleep in it.
Yeah, that's not that simple.
It's not that simple. And generational poverty, bro, is so embedded, and the root system is so embedded that people have no idea how to get out of it.
So this is what's mind-boggling, Tom. How do we have an influx of homeless tents and homelessness at a crazy astronomical rate in a country that has the richest economy? I could see if we were in a third world country, if you see where I'm going, right?
Oh, yeah.
Something is wrong systemically.
Yeah.
That if we're seeing this much homelessness in the country that has it is the richest country on the planet. It has the most wealthiest economy. I know China's trying to catch up with us, and the most powerful military in the world. How in the world do we have that much poverty, and only 1% of the nation's population gets to live their dream and have whatever they want? 1%. There's something wrong systemically in our country when it comes to situations like that.
Sure, you can't see it from my house, right?
Yeah.
You know, and a prime story, bro. I did a pickup just recently because I pick up donations throughout the city that we give to families that are in need, and it was a very, very expensive neighborhood. Millions of dollars these homes are.
Yeah.
And come to find out, the people that bought this home bought the home because their son was accepted at a university here in Arizona, and they wanted to come visit him while he was here, but they didn't want to stay in a hotel. So they bought a multi-million-dollar home that they could stay in for a couple months a year.
Yeah.
That's a one world problem. That's not a 1% problem. That's a quarter of the 1% problem that they have no problem.
Yeah. Absolutely. Generationally.
And what was the number? And we got 2,227 people at last count that have no place to live.
They have no place
no
to live.
shelter.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So can police fix that?
No. No. P&I is wonderful. The network policing where you have to bring in outside or organizations and agencies in order to help you make a difference.
Right.
You can't arrest somebody and then turn around 2 days later and put them back in the same environment they came from. That environment drove them to do what they did to begin with. So when are we going to change the environment? When are we going to fix the windows?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and the reason why I brought out, obviously, that was, I already knew the subliminal type of question, but that's what we do. The reason why I ask that is because that's how I respond to homelessness, right? Yeah. And, you can't arrest your way into this type of solution. There should be a real holistic approach about a need assessment of what we can do to help the homelessness population. And number one, you can't deal without no money.
TPCH is Tucson or Pima County Housing Coalition. They're trying to do some stuff, and you know about the Wildcat Inn and the no-tell motel that's for adult elderly that they have been pulled out of camps and to put into transitional programs where they can get into housing at some point in time. And they're using a model that the right may not agree with because there are drugs and alcohol allowed at these facilities. But you know what? If we get them sheltered, And like you were saying earlier, when we were talking about the trauma, when you get them sheltered and you get them feeling safe, and you give them freedom to be able to open up, then we can talk to them. And then we can make a difference, especially if we're bringing in the resources to these facilities and not saying, well, this is Democratic or Republican. This is good for people, right? Yeah. So it doesn't matter what political
this is a
outlier.
Human rights issue.
It is.
This
is just people.
Yeah. This is human rights. It's way beyond, politicizing this situation. It's the moral thing to do. It's the God thing to do. And I'm also shocked, not to bring so much religion into this, but I'm shocked at how many Christians don't want to have anything to do with this.
Amen.
I mean, you just got to call it what it is. I mean, I don't even know what else to say. I just got to. This is a show that speaks truth to power, so we have to call it out. I am amazed how many systems of faith that wants to be totally rid of this issue without solving it, without bringing solutions. And I would go on to say, I think, and I read some data too that talked about this is one of the big reasons why churches was really struggling financially is because people like you don't solve nothing.
Right. Jesus didn't walk by people and drop a quarter in their lap, right? He stayed there and embraced them until they got up.
Jesus was the master at this work. He always took care of the natural before he preached the spiritual. And many churches and ministries want to be deep spiritual, and then once you have joined their church, once you're on their bandwagon, now maybe
pastor,
maybe they're going to help you.
Yeah.
But Jesus this is the reason why the religious system had an issue with the Messiah. If the Sadducees, Pharisees, the scribes had an issue because he was dealing with those who needed healing. He dealt with the prostitutes and the publicans and what we would declare immoral and too dirty for the church. And that's why I said I would be shocked. And that's a whole nother episode. Would Jesus go to your church?
Ooh, wow.
Would Jesus really be a member of many of the churches that is out here? And I would dare say, is many of the churches that say they are churches is really part of the ecclesia of God?
I don't know. Revelation
might be really shocked.
Revelation says he stands at the door and knocks. That's telling me he can't get into his own church.
Yeah.
Because the door is closed and there's something else inside there besides him.
Yeah, we got 2 minutes in. This just got good. Look, we're gonna come back and we're gonna have these conversations. You're a minister of the gospel. I'm a minister of the gospel. I really believe, or should be, that much of the solutions to this issue is not a government fix.
No.
I believe God has brought the church into the earth to be able to come to solutions on complex issues like this. This should not even just be on city and state and federal government. No. I'm just going to be honest.
Right.
People might be mad for me to hear me say this, but I do believe that ministries should be focused. Even if we can come up to donating $100 million to a person's campaign, off the whim, then that tells me that we could really be putting a stronger focus on this. This is deep. I think we need to talk a little bit more about it because I still also believe that this is important. I know we're losing time here. So let's come back, Tom. Let's revisit this conversation. So what we got going on? What's in the community?
I'm going to shout out to the dudes, the men and women in the Arizona State prison system and the Bureau of Prisons and the federal prison system that listen to the program. Keep listening. And if you got any questions for us, please give them to your program staff and they will get them to us because we are working with everybody to make affordable and necessary changes out here for you guys to have a place to go.
There it is. Go get those resources. We're here to help you. Listen, we appreciate everybody's been tuning in. I hope you have been blessed by listening to this specific episode talking about homelessness. A lot of times we forget about the poor, and we want to make sure we are constantly speaking about the real issues. Listen, we are out of time. Join us every Saturday morning at 7:30 at 106 The Groove, where we believe that a mistake should only be a lesson, but not a life sentence. God bless. Take care.